Hello, this is the introduction to your AP Biology course. I need to let you know where AP Bio has come from and where it's headed. The AP Biology course now is a lot better than it used to be. Uh, Historically, the AP Biology basically did what most biology courses do and talked about structures and content an awful lot. Topics include stuff like cells, DNA, plants, animals, genetics, blah, blah, blah. The focus was generally placed on things. If you look at the table of contents in any biology textbook, chapter headings are generally grouped by structures. So, human anatomy, you have like the digestive system, the circulatory system, the reproductive system, the immune system, etc., etc. The College Board decided to start something new in the 2012-2013 school year. I've been teaching AP Biology since the early to mid 1980s. I started teaching in 1983, and AP Bio back then was basically like a college biology course that was very content oriented. The College Board decided, though, to revamp the entire curriculum of AP Bio and center AP Bio on four big ideas. Each of the four big ideas is a major theme in the living world. Each big idea is subdivided into blocks called enduring understandings, and each enduring understanding is further subdivided into what is called essential knowledge. And it's the essential knowledge that you cover basically day to day as you discuss the topics of AP Bio. All AP Bio teachers nationwide were supposed to adapt their curricula in the 2012-2013 school year to keep the AP status. All AP curricula had to be resubmitted at that time to let the College Board know that, to let the College Board see what a teacher was doing and make sure that the teachers were doing the new curriculum. There are really no textbooks that are entirely process-based. The BioBook AP Bio curriculum is both process and content-based. You got to have both. You don't want too much content, you don't want too much process. For example, no one wants to go to a doctor that knows how to do things but cannot identify any illness that a patient has when they walk in. No one wants to see their doctor Google symptoms. There's a certain amount of things that a doctor is required to know, and knowing everything is not that helpful, but knowing some things is very helpful. In addition, you have to have skills. You have to know how to use things. So before we dive into skills, let me say that the AP Bio curriculum now revolves around four big ideas. The big ideas are listed here on the screen. Let's go with the highlighter here. The first one, the process of evolution drives the diversity and unity of life. So evolution is what's produced the myriad of life forms that are on Earth. The concept that you're going to learn here in this unit is individual organisms do not evolve. So I cannot evolve, you cannot evolve, but groups of organisms evolve by differential survival and reproduction. In other words, some organisms survive, pass down traits to their offspring, and only some of the offspring survive and pass down traits to their offspring, and so on. And that's what this next topic's talking about here. Evolution depends on differential survival and reproduction of advantaged life forms over others that are disadvantaged. That's the whole first quarter. It's quarter one right here. Quarter two, biological systems use free energy and molecular building blocks to grow, reproduce, and maintain internal dynamic homeostasis. So dynamic homeostasis is the concept that chemicals are coming in and chemicals are going out, and yet inside we're remaining relatively constant. So as we eat food and we burn food, the sugar levels in our bloodstream are maintained at about a constant level. That's homeostasis. A rock is not dynamically homeostatic. Of course, the amount of chemicals in the rock don't change, but the rock does not have chemicals coming in and chemicals going out. It's not a dynamic system. So in this second quarter, we study how plants capture solar energy by photosynthesis and then either use that by cellular respiration or store it. And then we talk about how animals and many life forms use the captured solar energy of plants to carry on their own cellular respiration. And then the energy that cells take in goes into creating large molecules that work to provide structure to the cells. Okay. Now that's all the second quarter. The third quarter is all about information. That's another major theme in biology. All living things store, retrieve, transmit, and respond to information. DNA is the ultimate information in all living systems. We're going to look at that at the beginning of the third quarter. Then we talk about cell communication. The G protein linked receptor system is going to come up. Signal molecule function is going to come up. In other words, how hormones work is going to be discussed. And lastly, we're going to talk about how organisms communicate with one another using nervous systems to observe, process, and react to one another in the world. Finally, we wrap up the course in the fourth quarter with emergent properties. This revolves around the concept that biological systems interact, and those interacting systems possess complex properties. So, cells, organs, systems, organisms, populations, communities all interact to produce emergent properties. And emergent properties are the complex phenomena that arise from simpler components. Emergent properties are the idea that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. A bunch of car parts laying on the street doesn't get you to school. But when the car parts are all bolted together just right, the vehicle can actually do some amazing things and get you to school. That's what emergent properties are all about. Cars do exhibit that. Lastly, let's just go through these AP Biology labs. By doing the labs, we are hoping, number one, that the student can use representations and models to communicate scientific phenomena and solve scientific problems. Number two, the student can use mathematics appropriately. You are allowed to use a programmable calculator. Number three, the student can engage in scientific questioning to extend thinking or to guide investigations within the context of the AP course. Number four, the student can plan and implement data collection strategies appropriate to a particular scientific question. Number five, the student can perform data analysis and evaluation of evidence. Number six, the student can work with scientific explanations and theories. And lastly, number seven, the student is able to connect and relate knowledge across various scales, concepts, and representations in and across domains. What this comes down to is that in this course, you will have the opportunity to discuss a lab before you do the lab, talk about strategies that might be the most efficient way to collect data in the lab, and then you'll actually do the lab. You'll actually then analyze the data, and for at least one major lab, you'll write up a report and then present it to your classmates. So it's more than it. You don't do cookie cutter labs in AP Bio. Instead, you do thoughtful labs where you are expected to know what you're doing, know why you're doing it, know the reasons for every step in the lab, and then know how to